Welcome back, or welcome to another video centered around the Dark Souls franchise. Today, as seen with the title, I'm going to discuss why Dark Souls 1 is underhated. As much as I've sung the praises of all the Dark Souls trilogy, sometimes it annoys me the amount of fans that hate on Dark Souls 2 instead of Dark Souls 1, and the usual reasons for this is like janky bosses, getting ganked, and the healing system. Today I'm going to tell you, one, how that's like wrong in a sense, but how Dark Souls 1 is worse in pretty much every way when it comes to it. To start with, let's discuss the janky bosses. In Dark Souls 2, a common complaint is the hitboxes and how even when you have dodged, you get hit sometimes, and it means you take damage even though you've rolled through the attack. To be honest, it has happened to me sometimes, and it is annoying. However, Dark Souls 2 offers you extra healing to counter this, so it becomes less of an issue if you use the tools you're provided. What I know, people who play Soulsborne games hate using every tool to their advantage, I know. But if you did, it would make it a lot less negative. On the other hand, Dark Souls 1 has a similar issues with a lot of bosses, where you'll roll and you'll still get hit, or you'll be stuck, and you're sometimes stuck in their hitboxes anyway, and it's an issue with the game, but know what it does it you know it's an issue. And unlike Dark Souls 2 where you get extra healing items, Dark Souls 1 you don't really or you don't have a lot of them. You have a couple and it's not too bad, but you don't get a lot, and that becomes an issue. Like, don't get me wrong, it is more common in Dark Souls 2 where you will get hit by janky bosses, and I get that. You are more likely to get hit by janky bosses in Dark Souls 2. Yet for the amount of hate Dark Souls 2 gets on it sometimes, the fact that no one, from what I see at least, not many people hate on Dark Souls 1 for the fact, it does seem a little crazy to me, you know? Next, let's discuss about getting ganked. In Dark Souls 2 it doesn't happen too often, and I know, crazy, but it just doesn't. There is a specific area slash region slash DLC, being the old Crown of the Old Iron King, where in my time playing the game, it was the area I got ganked in the most. It made me rage a couple times and just stop playing for the day. It was not great. However, the amount of time that this gets mentioned as an issue is annoying, especially in comparison to Dark Souls 1. In Dark Souls 1, as I've said, it happened so much that it took me so many more weeks to beat the game, as I would just stop as not to rage and throw my stuff at the wall. What sounds silly right now, but was true in my first playthrough of the game. The amount of times I would get ganked or stuck between enemies was so much worse than in Dark Souls 2. And I think it's a serious issue that, again, just doesn't get discussed because, I don't know, it's the first game, you're trialing stuff out, but it's a massive issue for me. Finally, there's the healing system. It's my last point for this video, at least. As I've mentioned so far throughout the video, Dark Souls 2 has a healing system with a lot of extra items that heal you over time, which I find amazing. It means you have other things just to spend on levels, other things to spend souls on other than levels, and, you know, yes, I know you can upgrade your weapons and all of that, but you know what I mean, it's something you can consistently spend, and it doesn't mean you have a buttload of souls held up on you, and it does make exploration more fun. You're not stuck worrying about how many Essus you have, you can just explore, and it means when you go into a boss fight you can kind of do tank builds are a lot more viable, you know, you're not too worried about taking too much damage, you can heal it back a lot more, a lot easier. In Dark Souls 1 though, you have limited healing. Yes, you have items to heal you to max, however, it makes exploration harder and less enjoyable. Having no items that steadily heal you is annoying, as you're just running through all your healing items, and you don't necessarily want to spend them when they're not as renewable as Dark Souls 2. Yes, it makes bosses more challenging, which make the bosses more fun in my opinion in most situations too, but I think it does ruin exploration and makes it a lot worse than Dark Souls 2 in that regard. And it's the healing system, it makes it a lot worse than Dark Souls 2 healing system especially. Again, I don't get why this doesn't get hate, or at least I don't get why Dark Souls 2's healing system gets hate compared to Dark Souls 1. Anyway, that's the end of my points. I know I've dunked on Dark Souls 1 a lot this video, I still really enjoy the game. I just think people need to understand how it isn't that good, and that the hate on Dark Souls 2 is crazy when you look at Dark Souls 1 in comparison. But you know, I'm not gonna spill hate into this community. There's already enough of it. All of the games are great. Yes, there are issues with all of them. However, I think the hate some of the games get over the other games is a bit, you know. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next times. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more of this content. I know that is cringy and annoying, but I am a small content creator. I would like to make more YouTube videos, so I kind of need to, you know, grow myself. And if you want, maybe leave a comment on a game you'd like me to discuss next. Anyway, see ya. As always now, it seems like a tradition where we have to kind of wait till I finish a round of PvP here. As you guys seen throughout the rest of the video, I've been practicing SMP PvP, as it's a style I would like to get better at. As I mentioned before, you know, please like and subscribe and stuff. But also, could you comment, like, if you want to, if you're good at SMP PvP, where I could have improved on throughout the fight, like stuff that I've done wrong. Obviously, you get to see it. Like I said, I mentioned before, I love the Dark Souls trilogy. It's not something I'll make content on, as with content creation, I like to limit it to one style, because I'll be honest, I don't want to be making videos on every game I play. So yeah, but you can click off now if you want. It won't annoy me too badly, because it is just a round of PvP, and if you don't enjoy that type of stuff and you were just here to listen to me yap about Dark Souls, you can do that. If you want me to do a video discussing like my favourite bosses in the trilogy, I'll more than gladly do that, because each game has a boss I love. Every single one. There's not a single one where I think there's not a good boss in it. And that's all of the trilogy. That's every game made by From Software. There's not a single game where I go, oh, the boss, there's a bad boss. It's normally pretty good in each of them. But yeah, I think I'm moderately alright at SMP. If I were to tier myself, I'd probably say, what would I probably say? I'd probably say low tier 5, but I say that for all of them because I would argue that I'm better than the majority of normal players. But when it comes to being tiered, it's like, obviously the higher tier players are a lot better. You know, I'd probably rank myself low tier to high tier 5 and everything currently, as there just isn't really much argument for me to be higher. Again, if people watching this are like, no, you know, the skills you display or all of that stuff, you know, should put you higher, I don't really mind, but, you know, it's whatever to me. I just enjoy PvP. It's my favourite style it's my favourite thing to do in the game. There's not much better things in my opinion, so you know. Dude, this fight is really long. Oh my, you guys must be so bored if you're still watching this. I'm bored speaking about it and I'm just watching and editing, guys. Like, anyway, we're getting near the end of it. Thank you for watching. Like I said, please like and subscribe if you want to see more. Leave a comment too. Thank you. See you next.